We had one matter in Placer County, not far from here, where a girl was taken because she told her friend she thinks she might be a boy. She was taken from her family because her family would not affirm and encourage that confusion. The girl didn't want to be taken. She was in foster care for more than 2 years. We went right into court to prevent the first injection and then the subsequent surgical procedures to have body parts cut off. That's what Governor Gavin Newsom's CPS agencies push up and down the state. If my voice went up a little bit, it's for a reason. It's evil, it's sadistic, and that is what he would probably bring to the entire United States if he entered the Oval Office.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, presented to you by SAC Life TV.
Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community, so if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. SAC Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. So, Brad, thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm honored to have you here.
Well, thank you, Topo. I'm glad to be on the program.
So, the Pacific Justice Institute, tell us why it was founded.
Yeah, I founded it back in 1997, a good while ago. And at the time, I was the Western director for an organization called Rutherford back east, and I'd opened an office for them on the West Coast and back in 92. Everything was going great. I developed a network of attorneys all throughout the West, 14 Western states, especially California. And I started right here in Sacramento. So everything was going great. Lots of cases and litigation defending religious freedom, parents' rights against the government, sanctity of human life. And then I get a call saying that, letting me know they're shutting down their offices, their regional offices, but they didn't want to lose me. So they said, we're going to give you promotion. We're going to want you to head up our public affairs office in the Washington, D.C. You'll testify before Congress, have a larger staff, larger office right there near the Capitol. You have a higher salary. And I'm like, this is a no-brainer. I was going to be the face of the organization for all media, radio, TV, everything. So, of course, I said yes. And then I had insomnia and I couldn't sleep, still couldn't sleep. Mm-hmm. Finally, I prayed about it and I just really felt convicted that the real passion on my heart was to make sure that people got the help where it was needed the most, which is here on the West Coast. This is the beach of Omaha, if you will, in the fight for what we do, which is religious freedom, parents' rights, sanctity of life. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stay here, start an organization, see if it goes, so I can keep doing the work out here, because I knew there'd be a huge void. Gave God just a few little requirements. Free office space, free computer system, keep me on the 2 radio stations for free. We have to be in the black in just 3 months. I'm never going to charge anyone ever for any work I ever do. Thought I was very reasonable. And God came through on everything. It was incredible how it all happened. But it was really good because it made me understand that it wasn't my baby. This organization is not my organization. It's really God's organization. Yes. I don't say that tongue-in-cheek or to sound spiritual. It's just reality. It lets me sleep at night. So we fast forward. We now have 37 offices, coast to coast, 5 right here in California. All of them are rent-free. We don't pay any money for office space anywhere, which is incredible. On the radio, are we on those 2 stations? Well, we're now on my show. I have my own show, the Dacus Reports, on over 1,000 radio outlets across the country. We pay $0 for that. We have Brad Dacus Live, which is streaming. That's $0. We pay $0. We have another one called Faith and Law, which is syndicated on 40 different networks or distributors. We don't pay a penny for that as far as airtime. So, and then I'm also on some other programs, To Every Man an Answer on the CSN network every week, and the Bob Messino show every week on 36 conservative news talk stations. So we have a strong media presence that we're blessed with. On the legal side, we have over 130 cases in active litigation right now as we speak, 2 cases pending before the Supreme Court that we've filed petition for certs for, a third one that is fast moving to be petitioned to the Supreme Court. And then we have we work with legislatures. So we have a whole division that works with legislatures. One of the things that they've done is we got 6 states to pass laws saying boys cannot compete in girls' sports.
You're the ones. Yes, I know
So,
that.
we were moving full steam on that. We're able to, in Texas, to get chaplains approved for every single public school that wants them in the state of Texas. We've gotten a lot of other work done for parental rights as well in the state legislatures. And then we have a third division, which is dealing with churches and the rights of churches and synagogues to have their voices heard. And with that, we were able to get almost 900, last election, almost 900 churches to have voter registration Sundays. And that has a big impact, especially on narrow races, close contests. So we're doing that this year. We're expecting for that to go well over 1,000. And it's having a big, big impact as well. And then we have great resources. And then to boot, I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of guest preaching at churches, as well as political organizations, community organizations. So after this, I'm going to be speaking to a group of Christian business owners, CEOs. Straight from there, I'm going to the airport to fly to Hawaii, where I'm going to speak at a pro-life fundraiser for a pro-life clinic, and then speak at a Calvary Chapel on Sunday morning. So they keep me very busy.
Well, I asked you how you do it, and you and I both know how you do it, and that's because you're doing God's work. And I'm going to. You said you have all that, and you get all that for free. You don't. There's other good people that understand your side of this. I hate to say fight that we have going on, because I believe if people want to have their beliefs on the other side of the political, go ahead. You can have your belief.
Right? It's a free country.
I have mine. But we constantly have to fight for what we want. You brought up boys and girls sports, or girls and boys sports. That's just a no-brainer, Mike. I don't get it. And how that is, we're contesting that. And how really and truly women on that side of the thing would want their daughter, a boy, to be in a locker room with a woman, a girl.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So how's that fight going?
Yeah, it's actually going really well. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments regarding two states that, by the way, we helped both of them, Idaho and West Virginia, who passed laws saying boys can't compete in girls' sports. And the Supreme Court heard oral argument. The only question, in my mind, are they going to rule narrowly and say, okay, states, you have a right to protect girls' sports, or are they going to rule more broadly, which applies to all 50 states, saying Title IX of the Civil Rights Statute, that on its face protects girls' right to compete with girls and girls' sports. And if you allow boys to come in on whatever pretext, you violate their rights under Title IX. I think that is what they're going to decide. Other people are saying, oh, they're really narrow over here. I say, no. They're going to see this for what it is. I think they're going to have it's going to be a broader decision. We'll see what happens. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But we'll see what happens. But that's a real positive on that end. Now, another interesting case we have ongoing right now is dealing with a women's Korean spa. And so this is a private business. It's not a sport issue, but a private business. And it's in the Seattle area. It's Olympus Spa. Well, they're run by a Korean family. They're strong Christians. It's just women only. And a Korean spa culturally is where they don't wear any clothes. So they have back scrubs and all kinds of things. No clothes. So people don't understand. These are, and it goes down to the age of 13. So you have 13 girls there, aged girls and up, no clothes at any time. So a man calls in. And anyway, he says, hey, I want to go in your deal. I want to go in your spot. And they said, are you a biological male or female? Well, I see myself as a woman. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. So he files a complaint with the state of Washington, the Human Rights Commission. It's sort of like George Orwell's, where what it says means actually the opposite.
Yes, yeah.
It's the tyranny organization that wants to stamp on rights and freedoms. So this Washington state, this is the government of Washington. Their Human Rights Commission pounces on this organization and takes into action to shut them down. We at Pacific Justice Institute, we move in and we file a lawsuit to protect them on religious freedom grounds. That this is a privately owned business, but they have religious convictions. And one of those convictions is not to let 13-year-old girls be suddenly visually violated by a naked man exposing himself at any time, any day they want to, for as long as they want to, in front of naked girls, naked women. Normally, that's illegal, and they end up behind bars.
Yes.
That's a crime. But Washington says, oh no, because he claims to think that he's a female. Let's say he thinks he's a female. Stats show even people like that who really have dysphoria, men, the overwhelming majority of those men are still sexually turned on by women. I mean, that's the laws of nature. So we at the Pacific Justice Institute, we filed a lawsuit, and the federal district court judge, to my surprise, ruled in favor of the state of Washington, saying, oh no, this is a civil right for gender confused men. We've appealed it to the Ninth Circuit. We had a split decision, 2-1. Then we appealed it to the broader Ninth Circuit. It's called en banc. And it was also a split decision, but slightly more judges voted for the state of Washington. So we've got some rogue, radical leftists in our court still, even after Trump's fantastic appointments. So now we filed a petition for cert to the United States Supreme Court. And I will tell you, the odds are usually like less than 1% that they're going to take up your case. If I'm not a gambling man, but if I was a gambler, I'd put up money on this one. That I think they're going to take it up. And I think they're going to rule 6-3, maybe 7-2 in favor of our client and their rights under the Constitution of the United States, not to have to compromise their religious beliefs and convictions to protect young girls from being visually violated and traumatized by a man with mental issues and who knows what intentions.
Yeah, it is one of those things that these judges, I mean, and I've always been in the criminal justice system for 42 years, always held judges in this highest regard in my life. But to see them bring their political views or mindset in the way, I'll promise you ain't one judge, well, maybe there might be a few, that would want that would be okay with them and their daughter in there. I mean, it's just mind-boggling that anybody would want to do that. And so a lot of the work you do, you don't have to go to court. You handle it through non-litigation negotiations. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, when I first started it didn't work out that way. I'd send a demand letter and I'd get a yawn on the other side and I'd have to take it to court. But after enough cases and enough lawsuits and enough wins, we're pretty feared by the opposition. So when we contact the other side when they're doing something wrong, we bring with it our reputation, our long established reputation. And we don't just give them like 3 sentences or 4 sentences saying, this is wrong and we want you to correct it. This is illegal, and maybe cite a statute. We don't do that. We go out of our way and to provide the other side with, here's all the cases. Here's what the law says. Here's the statutes. Here's the cases. Here's the case. Here it all is. And this is why you're going to lose. So then the city attorney or school board attorney, or whoever it is we're dealing with, can look at it, do their homework, look up the cases, look at the statutes, and be quickly educated about how their entity is about to get sued and about to lose. So because of that, we get more than 9 out of 10 matters we deal with, we get resolved without filing a lawsuit. Now, we still have lots of lawsuits, and we have a very high win rate, by the way. Majority of our cases we win, but we're able to save a lot of resources and time because our goal is, not to pillage the bankrolls of cities and governments. Our goal is to get justice and get it done as quickly as possible so we can move on to the next people who need help.
Well, again, and then you said you have 5 offices here in Sacramento.
California.
California. Yeah.
But
I would expect you to say 15 or 20 for places like here, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah, you have 2 in Washington, 1 in Oregon, with a very strong legal team in Oregon. We have a lot of cases there. And then in Sacramento happens to be our headquarters for all litigation coordination. So the legal division is right here in Sacramento, and we're very grateful for the space that we have that's been afforded to us. And we have a very powerful paralegal team that works with our attorneys, and they work together with Zoom calls every week. So it's not just one attorney in one state of Ohio, or Florida, wherever, working alone. No, they confer every week on Zoom calls, and talk about their cases, their strategies. Is this case viable or not? How we. So it's a very strong, powerful, collective use of intellect and wisdom, and it really allows us to have a very effective outcome.
So this is kind of a broad question, but what trends are you seeing in like schools, government agencies, and workplaces that concern you? And it could, one of the things, obviously, we talked about the religious freedoms, which is that state of California, in my mind, just can't stand business owners. And I'll say that, and I'll say that right to that camera. My profession, we face government battles every day, gun stores as well. But the question I asked you there, what is most concerning to you?
Well, one of those is business owners. So we not only defend them without charge, and we've defended a number of business owners that have been attacked. I know for example, there was one that had a private water polo gym kind of a deal where they do swimming and swim lessons, and it's privately owned. And they had Christian posters on the wall and played Christian music. And one parent who was an atheist sued because they said that their child should be able to receive those services without being exposed to any religion. Now, the owner of the business never compelled anyone at any time to have to do anything religious. Didn't have to pray. Didn't have to hear a sermon. They did what they did. Well, and they got an attorney who thought, I'm going to make some quick, easy money. Sends a demand letter to him, thinks he's going to get a quick, easy $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. Well, that business owner heard about Pacific Justice Institute. He contacted us. And that family, we defended them, and took over 2 years, and we won. And the judge in the end finally dismissed the case. And he said, this business owner, so long as they're not discriminating on who they serve, they can be as religiously zealot as they wish in how they conduct themselves and their place of business. It was a fantastic decision. And we had another gentleman up in Oregon, and he had a contractor, a construction firm. And he was an ex-con who had a powerful testimony of coming to Christ while he was in prison. So he hired these ex-convicts to give them a chance. And he had a Bible study. And this one guy just quits, and he sues this business owner in his personal capacity as well as the business. And he claimed that, he says, well, I'm of an Indian religion or some other religion, and I was offended. So we represented him. We won because case law says that if an employee objects to something in the workplace that's religious, they have to let the employer know, so that the employer can make good faith effort to try to reasonably accommodate them absent an undue burden or hardship on the business. Well, this employee never let the employer know. And so the employer won, and we were very successful in our defense. So we go to bat for business owners. They may have a large corporation, they may have a small business. We do it all without charge. And that's one of the things that we do at Pacific Justice Institute, along with that Korean women's spa. That's one of the latest examples. Yeah,
I had traveled to Asia last year and had no idea about that. And we went to a spa, and I was with my in-laws, and was like, excuse me? and we made a choice. And people can make a choice. We chose not to go to that spa where everybody was unclothed, but that is the way. That is their belief, their religion. That's their way. We made a choice, and we went to one where you could wear a bathing suit. And we didn't sue that one or throw a tizzy about it. We just made a choice. And that's what really infuriates me. You have choices. Don't go to work for that man. If that's what that man does, don't go to work for him. And I don't care what religion it is, whether you're a Muslim or a Mormon, a Christian. I have friends that are all, you do what you do. But to use the spike of legal lawsuits and hurt employers, hurt schools, hurt organizations, I'm glad to hear you're winning.
Yeah, we are, and it's a real joy to do that. But we also are going to bat for employees. So one of the biggest cases we had was dealing with the COVID-19 mandates. And there were not just hundreds or thousands, but hundreds of thousands, if not several million employees in America that were suddenly having to choose between putting bread and butter on the table and their religious convictions unnecessarily. These are employees who are being purged because of their faith, not because of their quality of performance or coming late to work or something. No, because of their beliefs and convictions not to take a controversial experimental vaccine, which we found out actually does not prevent transmission. So therefore, it's not a vaccine. So therefore, there's really no interest at all that the employer has to mandate it at all. But that's the facts and the information, the details. So under the Biden administration, we had a tremendous assault on people of faith throughout the country, in the military, and the universities, students wanting to go on to nursing school, employees working for the government, employees working for companies that were woke. So we went ahead and we took on these cases, and we defended more employees than any organization in the country, any law firm in the country, even more than the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission. We took on them nearly double the cases that they did. We led the charge across the country, and we have the bandwidth to do it. We have 37 offices coast to coast. And I'm pleased to report we've had incredible success. One of my favorite cities to sue, take a guess, San Francisco. Pretty easy.
It's either that or Seattle.
Yeah. They're close. So LA is getting up there too. But San Francisco, we went and sued them in the Bay Area Rapid Transit specifically, and they had fired all these employees, some 33 employees, without trying to accommodate them at all, who had convictions not to take the vax and the jab. Well, we settled for all but 6 of them, and they were fine. But then we went ahead and had to file a lawsuit. We had to take the others to court, to trial for the 6. So we did that, and make a long story short, we won a $7.8 million judgment on their behalf against Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's on appeal. We just did an oral argument on appeal. The appeal went very well. It looks like the judges were very critical on the San Francisco Bay Area legal counsel. Wow. So it sent us shockwaves across America that you cannot be tyrannical against employees because of their faith and think you're going to get away with it.
So I got to ask you on that note, our military, they had to face this.
Oh, yeah.
Were you involved in that?
Oh, yes. Our attorney out of our Philadelphia office, Karen White, she is an expert in military law as well as school board law. And she took on these matters, and we represented conservatively over 700 in the military to keep them from being wrongfully discharged. And I'm really grateful to President Donald Trump for allowing all those who were discharged to come back with back pay, not being punished. We see a wonderful reforms taking place in our military back to what it used to be, which is focusing on defending our country instead of woke and other radical agendas.
Switching gears a little bit, because we only have a few minutes left. And I'm just going to tell you right now, on the fly, we're going to do this again. Like, we're going to have part 2 on this. I really am. There's so much more I want to talk to you about and that people want to hear from. So I want to ask you about CPS and Child Protective Services and them coming in and telling people how to raise their children, why, what, and where. I mean, I am a firm believer in CPS, but I don't know if in a few minutes you can tell me about that and what your firm does with that.
Oh, yeah. We provide emergency counsel more than any organization in the United States for families who have threats by social workers to take their kids. Now, once the kids are taken, there's not much we can do. But we had one matter in Placer County, not far from here, where a girl was taken because she told her friend she thinks she might be a boy. She was taken from her family because her family would not affirm and encourage that confusion. The girl didn't want to be taken. She was in foster care for more than 2 years. We went right into court to prevent the first injection and then the subsequent surgical procedures to have body parts cut off. That's what Governor Gavin Newsom's CPS agencies push up and down the state. If my voice went up a little bit, it's for a reason. It's evil, it's sadistic, and that is what he would probably bring to the entire United States if he entered the Oval Office. That said, we went to court, we defended, we got her restored back with her family, and she told the judge at the very end, she says, Your Honor, I just want you to know one thing. He goes, sure, what is it? He goes, I just want you to know, I don't even really feel like I'm a boy anymore. and she would have been permanently sterilized, had body parts cut off and mutilated masochistically with the blessings of the state of California. We protected that girl, and we are working to protect kids like that across America, once again, completely without charge.
I don't get him. You know what? People get mad at Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom, he's evil. His wife is, I think, running things for the most part. People voted him in.
I know.
It's their voters. As I said, and we're going to talk about this at our next, it's what happens at the Capitol.
Yeah, and I do want to say one thing. If people want to protect their children, every family in America should download from our website 12 Steps to Protect Your Child from CPS. It applies to all 50 states. It has a better than a 99% success rate of keeping children from being wrongfully taken. And they can get that at our website, pji.org, pji.org. Stands for Pacific Justice Institute.
Well, Brad, as I just said, we're doing this on the fly, my friend. We're going to continue this because there's more that I want to talk to you about. So I want to thank you. And again, we're going to continue. But thank you for joining us here on the Powerhouse Podcast. I hope you've gotten what I've got out of this interview. And come back and join us next week when we have Brad Dacus back on our show. Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community. So if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. Sac Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Powerhouse Podcast, where we bring you fair and balanced discussions on the issues shaping our community. We welcome your input, opposing viewpoints, and guest recommendations because every voice matters. Have a topic or a guest in mind? Email us at php@saclife.tv.